There's a quiz in this magazine that's just for you.
Uh-huh.
The Pop and Rock quiz.
Oh, right. Ask me some questions.
Number 1. Which song was a hit for Carole King in 1962 and again in 1972?
It might as well rain until September.
Right. Number 2. Which song was a hit for Elvis Presley in 1962, for Andy Williams in 1970, and for the Stylistics in 1976?
I Can't Help Falling in Love.
Right. Numbers 3, 4 and 5. Who had hits with these songs? I Can't Help It in 1962.
Johnny Tillotson.
Right. The Girl Can't Help It in 1957.
Little Richard.
Right. She'd Rather Be With Me in 1967.
The Turtles.
Right. Number 6. Numbers 18, 19 and 20. From which songs are these words taken? You might as well face it, you're addicted to love.
Oh, that's an easy one. Addicted to Love by Robert Palmer.
Right. I'm Here If You Should Call to Me.
I'm Here If You Should Call to Me. Words by the Bee Gees.
Right. And finally, I'd Rather Be a Hammer Than a Nail.
I'd Rather Be a Hammer Than a Nail. If I Could by Paul Simon.
Right. Well, your score is 20 out of 20. Scores. 14 to 17. Congratulations, you're a pop and rock music expert. 18 to 20. Brilliant. If you should ever decide to change your job, you ought to become a disc jockey.
Box. Lounge. Pleased with oneself. Disc jockey. Melt. Lounge. Orchestra. Oboe. Cymbals. Clarinet. Conductor. Baton. Tuba. Cello. Auditorium. Concert hall.
Are you okay, Raymond?
Oh, yes, I'm fine. I was just thinking about Samantha. Between you and me, I think she made the right decision when she said no.
Really?
Yes, I'm not the man for her. She's very active and determined, and I'm a bit... Well, I'm not very confident. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I think so. In other words, you and Samantha are very different.
That's right. Martin, did you tell Linda what happened?
No.
Well, it was quite funny, actually. You know Samantha's flat on the second floor?
Uh-huh.
Well, I borrowed Martin's guitar, and stood under her window singing a romantic song.
Did you really?
Yes, it was Martin's idea. He thought she might suddenly fall in love with me.
Well, anything's possible.
Unfortunately, it didn't work.
Never mind.
By the way, Raymond, have you still got my guitar?
Yes, I'll give it back to you tomorrow. It's still a bit wet at the moment.
Qantas is the world's second oldest airline, and its famous initials stand for Queensland and Northern Territories Aerial Services. As the name implies, Qantas began in the north of Australia and was established on November 20th, 1920. Within a few months, Qantas had pioneered the Royal Flying Doctor Service, which is still a life-saving service today. From its early beginnings in 1920, Qantas has become one of the world's great airlines. The kangaroo emblem on its aircraft is now a familiar sight in Europe, Asia, the Middle East, the Far East and Africa. The airline also flies trans-Pacific services from Australia to Honolulu, Tahiti, Fiji, Vancouver, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and of course across the Tasman Sea to New Zealand.
Flying has a dehydrating effect on the body after approximately 4 hours, so you should drink reasonable quantities of non-alcoholic liquids. Alcohol accelerates the dehydration process. During climb or descent, you may feel discomfort in your ears or experience slight deafness as a result of pressurization changes. Relieve this by yawning, swallowing hard, or pinching your nose while breathing out. If you are wearing tight shoes, it might be better not to take them off. Feet may swell on long flights, and you may have difficulty putting them on again. Most basic medicines, such as those for headaches and indigestion, are carried on board. If you should need anything, please ask a member of the cabin crew.
September the 30th, 1659. I, poor miserable Robinson Crusoe, being shipwrecked during a dreadful storm, came on shore on this dismal unfortunate island, which I called the Island of Despair. October the 25th. It rained all night and all day, with some gusts of wind, during which time the ship broke in pieces, the wind blowing harder than before. November the 3rd. I went out with my gun and killed 2 fowls like ducks, which were very good food. December the 24th. Much rain all night and all day. July the 4th. In the morning I took the Bible, and beginning at the New Testament, I began seriously to read it. September the 30th. The unhappy anniversary of my landing. I found I had been on shore 365 days.
Good afternoon. I want to see the managing director, please.
Good afternoon. Have you an appointment?
Of course. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't.
What is your name, please?
Duncan.
Oh, just a moment, please. Miss Corby, I have a Mr. Duncan here to see Mr. Grant. He says he has an appointment. Yes, I will. Mr. Duncan, would you take a seat, please? Mr. Grant's secretary will be down in a moment.
Thank you. I hope she won't be long. I haven't much time.
She's on her way now.
Good.
Here she is.
Good afternoon, Mr. Duncan. I'm Elizabeth Corby, Mr. Grant's secretary. Would you like to see round the factory first?
Yes, I would.
Now, this is our office block.
Mm-hmm.
We have all the administrative departments here. Sales, accounts, personnel, market research and so on.
What's that building opposite us?
That's the warehouse where the larger items of office equipment are stored.
If I ordered a desk today, How long would it be before I got delivery in Scotland?
I think perhaps you'd better speak to our works manager, Mr. Fielding. You'll meet him when we go over to the factory. We'll go there now.
Did the engine break down?
I hope it didn't.
How long will it take you to fix it?
We can leave here before it's getting dark.
Ah, if we had called a taxi, we'd have been home by now. Shall we call Dave? I don't like staying here till night.
Oh, I almost forgot it. Tony is an auto mechanic. Tony? Tony!
Is it me?
Maya.
Yahoo!
Repair the car. Engine. Hoisting jack. Maya.
Yes!
An auto mechanic. Poncho. Maya. Poncho. Wire pole. High tension wire.
You ought to stop smoking.
When I want your advice, I'll ask for it.
I only said you ought to stop.
Oh, sorry. You're right. I ought to stop smoking.
And you ought to get some exercise. Let's have a game of tennis this evening.
This evening? No, I can't. I'm going to see the doctor. What do you think, Doctor?
Well, Mr. Lincoln, if you want my advice, I think you ought to do 3 things. You ought to stop smoking, you ought to get some exercise, and you ought not to work so hard.
Crescent. Many. High. Low. Few.
Yahoo!
Bleed. X-ray machine. Auscultate. Physician. Tablet.
Perhaps we ought to have stayed at home this evening.
No, we ought to have taken a different road. Or we ought to have left at a different time.
Yes.
There are always problems on this road. Who suggested coming this way?
You did.
Oh, did I?
Yes. I didn't think it was a very good idea.
Well, you ought to have said something. You ought to have taken the car keys. And you ought to have said, I'll drive and I'll choose the route.
I'll do that next time.
Landslide. Fix the car. A spare tire. A flat tire. Stop the car. Driving license. Reversing. Checking.
What's the matter with you, Raymond? You don't look very happy.
Oh, I'm in love with Samantha. She's a wonderful girl, and I've asked her to marry me, but she won't say yes, and she won't say no.
I see.
I phoned her last night and asked her again.
What did she say?
Oh, she wouldn't discuss it. In fact, she wouldn't speak to me at all.
Oh.
So I went to her flat, but she wouldn't let me in. She wouldn't even open the door.
Why don't you ask her in a more romantic way?
And what do you mean?
Well, stand under her balcony in the moonlight and call her name.
Yes! That's a great idea. Like Romeo and Juliet. Oh, no, just a minute. It's not a very good idea after all.
Why not?
She lives on the second floor, but she hasn't got a balcony. So I can't stand under her balcony in the moonlight.
Well, stand under her window in the moonlight.
Oh, right. Okay.
Call her name and sing her a romantic song.
A romantic song?
Yes, like, Words by the Bee Gees, for example. You can borrow my guitar if you like.
Oh, right. Good idea. Thanks, Martin.
And I will give you all my life.
I'm here if you should call to me.
What was that, Raymond?
I'm here if you should call to me.
I see. Okay. Raymond.
Samantha?
Go away and don't come back.
Oh. Does that mean you won't marry me?
That's right, Raymond.
Oh, I see. Well, if you should change your mind, phone me. You've got my number. Oh.
Well, did she give you an answer?
Samantha? Yes.
What did she say?
She said she'd rather not marry me.
Were those her exact words? I'd rather not.
No. Her exact words were, go away and don't come back.
I see. Well, that's quite a definite answer.
Yes, but I still think about her all the time. I can't help it.
Listen, Linda and I are going to see a film this evening. Why don't you come with us?
Okay, thanks. I might as well. I've got nothing else to do. Which film are you going to see?
Love Story.
Guitar support strap. Infatuation. Firefly. Firefly. Lose one's temper. Midnight. Console. Entreat. Draft beer. Beer machine.
Auxiliary verbs can and may.
You'll need a guide. The desert can be very dangerous, and take some warm clothes. The nights can be very cold.
May God bless you and keep you always. May your wishes all come true, and may you stay forever young, forever young. You may be as businessman, you may be rich, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Got to serve somebody.
Auxiliary verbs will, and would.
We can't disturb him now. He'll be having breakfast. Telephone for you.
Ah, that'll be Tom. He always calls me about this time.
In 1564, a boy was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, a boy who would become England's greatest dramatist. It's so hot and dry. I wish it would rain. Auxiliary verb, should.
I have been waiting for 45 minutes. Why should it take so long to make a tomato omelette?
Give me your car keys.
Why should I?
Where's Jack? How should I know?
No.
This wine should be kept in a cool place.
Should not be given to children.